Right, you're joining me on a sunny day, but we're in the hothouse because I've got some more plants. One in particular I've been after for a year or two, and I'm not going to say it's mega rare, but it's a little bit hard to get hold of. It's still a little bit pricey, but as you all know, I sort of late spring, early summer, I sell a few plants, make a decent amount of money, and which allows me to buy more plants. You're not going to go in the ins and outs of that now, but let's just say I've got plenty from the sales to keep me going for a while buying new plants. Right, let's get stuck in. Let's start off with a couple of unexpected purchases. Right over here then, really. So I did get, let's do a couple from Morrison's first. So this is one of these chef flares. Didn't have a species on it, I'm not sure what it is, but it's a house plant, but they do well in the garden over summer, but obviously they're not hardy, so they do need to come in. But that was £8, and from Morrison's, and I'm going to keep it in here for this summer to get some size, and then next summer we'll have it outside to enjoy some outdoor weather. So yeah, it's just a sort of what I consider just a cheap impulse buy, but quite nice. I did buy one a few years back and planted it in the garden, done really well over summer, and I sort of experimented a bit and left it over winter, and it did die. It didn't come back. There's no hardiness to these whatsoever, but they do, like I say, do rather well over summer, and they are house plants at the end of the day, so they can come in and make a good house plant over winter, and they do get massive eventually. Proper trees, them ones. This one is a little beat up. This is another Morrison's purchase. This is a Medinilla. So some of the leaves were broken when I got it, unfortunately, but it was the last one. So these are a really tropical looking plant, and they have really big flowers which sort of hang down, pink, really tropical looking, with the big glossy leaves as well. And that was £8 from Morrison's as well. So yeah, just a couple of sort of impulse buys which I fancied at the time. Right, so when I started this channel, I mean, at the end of the day, I class myself as a plant collector rather than a full-on gardener. I make the garden work to satisfy the needs of the plants that I like. So we've got, you know, like I say, when I start the channel, it's going to be more about plants, you know, house plants equally to garden plants. So I have got a couple of house plants, and before we look at them, let's just take a second to appreciate the new leaf open up on the Monstera Thai constellation. So this is not hardened off yet. As we can see, that will get a little bit bigger as it hardens off, and plenty of decent variegation on that. So that's the third leaf that's opened up since being in the hothouse. It is very bright in here, but there's no sort of direct sunlight as such, so that's really enjoying the heat and humidity and growing really well. Right, so let's get to some of these purchases. Again, maybe impulse purchases, but nevertheless plants that have been on my radar and that I'd fancied for a while, so as and when they come up at the right price, I'll buy them. So we've got a philodendron here. So I did take a trip to Urban Jungle in Beccles last week, and we got ourselves a philodendron billiettii. This is one of the really long, slender leaf types. It is a climber, and there is sort of two plants in there. and they're just a little bit different looking to a lot of other philodendrons, like I say, with the long, really long leaves and the sort of orange petioles. I think they're quite nice looking. I don't know if you want to pause and read any information there. It was £18, so I think that's quite a good price really for a plant. Like I say, it's not a baby plant, it is quite getting established, and I am going to pot that up. I'm just waiting for some moss poles to come in the post, and we'll get that potted up into a bigger pot. Nearly knocked that one over then. Another one which I've always fancied but never got round to getting, and again, seeing it at the right price helps. So this is a philodendron melanochrysum. So again, you're looking at sort of quite long, slender leaves on this, and these do get massive. You can get sort of 4 or 5 foot long leaves when they get mature, and they're sort of really sort of velvety dark leaf on them. And again, that will go on a proper moss pole once they arrive in the post. So this is quite a good price. I've been looking at these online, and you can get small cuttings or very small plants for anywhere £15–20 up. But this was £22.50. But again, a lot of the ones I see online, the leaves have been quite small, where these are already sort of a reasonable size. So the biggest leaf here is probably about 10 inches. So yeah, that's another one which I'll be adding to the collection, which is going to stay in a summer house, hot house throughout the summer, then indoors for a house plant over winter. Which leads us to this one. So I've got quite a few alocasias growing. I've got a couple of mycorrhiza, but this one is again sort of one I've been after for a while. It's just a matter of finding the right one with the right sort of variegation, amount of variegation, and at the right price. So it's a fairly small plant at the moment. I am going to pot this up. This only came in the post yesterday. I will say it's done absolutely fine in the post. No damage to the leaves whatsoever. Excuse me. This was from Eastern Tropicals, which I believe is in Norwich. So if I knew it was that close, I probably would have seen if I could have picked them up. But I paid £7 for postage, I think, on these, but I got a couple of plants from there. Yes, this is Alocasia mycorrhiza, so we're on the giant alocasias, but as we can see, it's sort of got quite a lot of good variegation. So hopefully, I know not going to be as quick as the standard sort of green, but they will once that's up potted, and in these conditions I think that'll grow pretty quick. So that's one I'm looking forward to seeing, get some giant leaves on that. Very nice plant. Right, so sort of coming down really to the main plant I've been after for a while, like I said at the start of the video, and it's not looking nothing special at the moment, but let's have a look. So again, this came in the post yesterday from Eastern Tropicals, and we're looking at a Musa Florida. Variegated banana basically. This is not going to be hardy whatsoever. This is going to be a house plant over winter. We're looking at about 2 foot of pseudostem, and it's got one leaf, which for shipping purposes probably makes sense, because if you know, they're quite fragile plants, and in the post they're just going to get damaged and die off anyway, so best off cutting them off before you consider posting these. So we've got one leaf on there at the minute, but we have got a new leaf coming up. So these are really quite special. Once they throw out a few leaves, they do look really nice, and the variegation is, you know, good chunky variegation where we can see we've got some good white there and some sort of mint green as well. Yeah, so they're not a cheap plant. I think I paid 70 quid. I have seen them go for more, I've seen them go for less, but I think for something that's already got a little bit of size to it, you can get sort of tissue cultures of these for around 50 quid, and they're going to be very, very small little plants and can be a bit temperamental to get going. So I think for something of this size, you know, it's all relative. £70 is not cheap, but it's relative to what you're buying. If it's a plant that, you know, maybe a bit rare or unusual and hard to get hold of, then they're going to hold a price tag. Yeah, so that's my sort of treat to myself. Like I say, I've done quite well this year with selling plants, so I've got plenty of money in the kitty for more plants, so I can justify it that way. I am going to repot this. It's in a sort of clear plastic pot at the moment, so that's going to go in a bigger pot and plenty of feed, and we'll see what sort of growth we get out of that. But I'm simply looking forward to seeing that one grow. So yeah, that's a few of the plants I've been buying lately. And believe it or not, I don't actually go through every plant I buy. I do buy a lot of plants, and some like I say, impulse buys maybe, and a year or two down the line I sort of get bored of them and either give them away or sell them for a cheap price when I'm selling other stuff. But in general, you know, nowadays I try to be a bit more fussy with the plants, and if I buy something, that's something I really want rather than just for the sake of it. Yeah, so I mean, let me know if you've treated yourself to any unusual or different plants lately. I know everyone's got a budget. What's the most you'd spend on a plant? You might think I'm crazy spending 70 quid on a banana plant, but again, if you do a bit of research, for a plant that size, I think is a reasonable price. Right, so I don't think there's anything else I need to go into right now. I might do an update in here because we've had some, you know, decent growth over the last 3 weeks. So yeah, I may well do a sort of mini tour of the hothouse and see what's growing and see what sort of sizes we're achieving. I don't know if I mentioned this in any other videos, but I'll mention it again now as we're sort of doing a plant haul. This is one I got, it's probably about a month ago to be fair. And this is a philodendron white wizard, and you say you can get nice variegated plants for a good price if you buy them small. This was only $4.99, and that's a good option if you want something variegated, a philodendron. You know, good little price on that. So not everything variegated has got to be expensive. I know variegation's not for everyone. I do like, you know, some leaf forms, I don't know, it just looks better variegated, and some, you know, I appreciate look better the original colour they're supposed to be. Right, so that's what's going on there. I've got a bit of up potting to do, so all the new plants I want to up pot. Oh, how could I forget about this? I did buy before we go, one of these cordyline fruticosas. This is it, one of the red ones with the sort of bright neon pink, which should start coming out now as in here. Let me see what the actual cordyline tango it says on the tags. This was only 6 quid from a local garden centre. Reasonable sized plant, and like I say, that'll look really nice when that pink comes out on the leaves on that. And at the same time, I did buy this little croton, $2.95, little cutting, but I just like the red veins in the the leaves, bit of a different shaped leaf to a lot of the other crotons I'm growing at the moment. Right, enough talk, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.